we're going to talk about Simone Weil. I just wanted to ask you, like, we're not going to go into your background, but I do want to ask you a personal question. And how has she impacted you? And then that's the reason why I wanted to talk. Somewhere I saw in some, I follow you on social media, and I don't know where I saw it, but somewhere I saw you say that Simone Weil changed your life, and that's why I thought, oh, I got to contact Brad. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah,
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, like how she changed your life.
sure. And I'll even double down on it. I
Okay.
normally would say she saved my life. And so
Oh,
what was
wow.
going on is my life was unraveling completely way back in 2008. I was in a lot of peril. We were seeing terrible tragedies happen in our little church that I had co-planted. Those tragedies left me for the first time wondering if I could trust God. And that's when and then my own unraveling started happening in the grief of that towards like acting out in addictions. And I was beside myself and to the point of despair. It's the first time in my whole life that I didn't know if I could trust God, and I knew for sure I couldn't trust myself. And I thought, this is the end of me. And at that point, Ron Dart he's a good friend of mine. He was a mentor, and he said, you need to read Simone Weil. Because I was stumbling over the problem of evil. How can you, how can you, how can you hold together the goodness of God and the affliction of humanity? And by affliction, I mean like um, non-redemptive suffering, like where a toddler drowns in a pool at the grandparents' place, where someone is abducted, raped, and murdered. There's no lesson here, right? It's that's what she means by affliction. It's a very technical word for her in that sense. How do you hold that together with the belief in a good God? And I couldn't anymore. And so I start reading her, and she says, my heart is continually torn by this problem, the inability to hold together the goodness of God and the affliction of humanity. But then she says, um, uh, the two act like pinchers. They grab you and arrest you and throw you down. And if you try to rationalize the problem of evil, you will always call good evil and evil good. And so she's anti-theodicy in that sense. But when these tongs throw you down, and she says you need to be accept that it's an actual contradiction. It's not a paradox. It's a real contradiction. And in the contradiction, you look up and there's the cross. And then you say, and she says, be astonished. Be astonished by the goodness in the one you see hanging there, and be astonished by the level of affliction that he's enduring there for all humanity, and um, there's an infinite distance between the goodness of God and the affliction of humanity, but the cross spans the distance, and the entire timeline of the human race lies between the two nail-scarred hands, and it passes right through his heart. And then she says, and then your affliction is like a nail hammered into the very heart of God. And so that you're united with him at the cross in your affliction, but through his wounds, they start releasing healing love into your life, and then through your wounds into the world. And so that's, if you take that as a description or a theodicy, you won't understand her. But if you go, no, this is a mystical experience that reintegrates us, and that's how she saved my life. And in that one little phrase, be astonished.
Ah,
I could make my lateral move. I couldn't dig out of despair, but I could make a lateral move from despair to astonishment in the two things in the one person.
wow. Yeah. I'm having a moment with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. The chapter in her book, um, Awaiting God, that's titled The Love of God and Affliction, really goes there.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just so healing. And it was on that basis that I entered spiritual direction with Steve Imbach, and
Yeah.
he walked me through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.